everyone, how's it going, and welcome to the official patch notes for patch 3.5a. We had our first look on Friday, and now we have the official patch notes for the patch that will be coming out tomorrow. Most of these changes are the same to the first look, but some champions, they've been removed in terms of some of their buffs or some of their nerfs have been removed, and also some of the numbers have changed ever so slightly as well. So we're going to go through this whole patch. I'm going to let you know my thoughts on the champions that are being buffed and nerfed, and where I feel like they might be sitting in this new meta that is coming around tomorrow. We saw the all for one game mode if you want to give it a try. I have played a few games. I haven't really played it too much, to be fair, because I've been focusing a lot on ranked and also just, you know, continue with my A to Z guide. I haven't played too much, but it is a fun game mode if you do want to give it a try. Chroma Crash, which is the new skins. I believe it's Samira, Jinx, and one more, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But Samira and Jinx, I think, are two champions that I'm going to be playing with the new skins. Unfortunately, though, the skins are out at a time where I'm going to be away for the ESL Snapdragon Pro Series finals, so I won't be able to get the skin content out for you straight away, but I'll be able to stream it and also do content on the Chroma Crash skins, so like videos on the skins when you know, when they do get released, and also it'll just be a little bit later than the 8th of September. 8th of December, sorry, I don't know why I said September. I'm going back in time now, not even forward in time. Right, let's take a look at the champion changes. First is Aatrox. The Dark and Blade is performing and better than we expect for a new champion, so we're cutting some of his power across the board. This was expected. I think no one is going to be surprised by these nerfs. Base attack speed nerf. The maximum damage to monsters also gone down. This is to stop Aatrox being played in the jungle. First ability, sweet spot bonus damage has gone down. The cooldown has also been increased, but at level 4 it's the same cooldown. And the thing is with Dark and Blade is this the ability you normally max first. So you're not really going to feel this effectiveness of the cooldown too much, except for the early game laning phase. So you can't really use this ability or spam this ability too much during the early game. And then the third ability, the base healing ratio has been reduced, and also the enhanced healing ratio has also been reduced when you use your ultimate. Do I feel like these changes are going to be enough? Probably not. I don't think. I don't think Aatrox focuses much on attack speed too much. This does mean that you won't be able to auto attack as quickly in between using your abilities and trying to proc your passive to get the extra healing. Monster damage is just kind of whatever, doesn't really do anything to solo lane Aatrox. Sweet spot bonus damage, yes, it's down by 10%, but I don't think 10% is that big. Cooldown, again, you won't feel the effects from this after like level 5, level 6. And then base healing ratio has obviously gone down, but I think this healing was absolutely disgusting anyway, and I still feel like the healing is going to be completely fine for Aatrox. It's going down by 2% for the base healing, and the enhanced healing is going down by like 5%. So again, I don't think it's going to mean too much, to be honest. Obviously the late game healing has gone down by quite a lot, but I don't think this is going to mean too much for Aatrox. I still think Aatrox is going to be a very, very strong champion. I still think he's going to be in a very strong spot coming into this new patch. Again, the nerfs are nice because the champion was kind of broken, but yeah, still I think he will be okay. Darius obviously has the deal 200 damage to monsters now, which basically like double damage now on the passive, which can be quite cool. So we're going to see how Darius will work in the jungle. We're trying out buffing up the Noxian's jungle clear speed to see how he performs in the new jungle that has stronger early game clearing power. So I have to see, definitely have to test this out. I'm definitely going to be playing Darius to see how he works out. Dyna, a little bit of a buff as well. I'm quite surprised by this because I think Dyna is pretty much already in a pretty good spot, but base health going up by 30, which is really, really nice, and a cooldown going down on the third ability, meaning that with your third ability now you don't get punished as much to not hit your other abilities, for example, because most of the time with Lunar Rush, when you hit your other abilities and when you have the passive on them, then if you use your third ability, Lunar Rush, on them, then the cooldown goes down to basically 0. You get a free dash. This is basically the cooldown for if you don't use your passive correctly. So it means it's just punishing players less for not using their passive as much, and making sure that they can escape to safety if they need to. Base health going up though is really, really nice for Dyna. I mean, Dyna in the laning phase can struggle because she is a melee champion, so making her more tanky will make her a little bit stronger. Fizz, I've been playing a lot of Fizz. I do have the A to Z guide for Fizz coming out tomorrow. So that's going to be really, really good timing, actually, with the buff happening to Fizz, with the Playful Trickster, the base damage going up. This is the first ability that you max first. Honestly, even though I'm done with Fizz, I do feel like I'm going to go back to Fizz and just give this buff a try, because I think Fizz is a very, very fun champion. I've been enjoying Fizz quite a lot since I've been starting to play him. So yeah, I will definitely be trying him out again. Gray's first ability, the cooldown is going up, the AD ratio is going up, the monster mod is going down. So basically what this is trying to do is this trying to move Gray's out of the jungle and making him stronger during the laning phase. But I don't think this will do too much to jungle either, because the cooldown doesn't really mean too much. I mean, yes, it's going to reduce your jungle clear by a little bit, because it's going to have a 2-second long cooldown in the early game, but in the late game it's going to have less cooldown overall, which I think is going to benefit him a lot. The attack damage ratio, obviously with Graves, you're going to be building a lot of attack damage items. Bloodthirster, Black Cleaver, Navori Quickblades, Infinity Edge, these are all attack damage items, so you know this buff is actually quite nice. Obviously the monster mod is going down by 30%, so you won't be able to do as much damage to monsters, but I think the attack damage ratio going up will kind of compensate that a little bit. So it's kind of like the monster modifier going down by 20% overall. But the attack damage ratio overall will make you stronger during team fights. And also the cooldown being low will also make you stronger during team fights. And obviously the ultimate damage has also gone up. So overall, I would say this is a buff to jungle, buff to Graves overall. But again, there are some nerfs in there as well. Obviously with the monster mod going down, and also the first ability at most ranks is going up in cooldown. But again, the early game won't really mean too much if you're playing in the jungle. Gwen nerf, again, another champion that is kind of expected. Base attack damage going down. This is going to affect Gwen quite a lot in the early game, make it harder to CS and also harder to trade against enemy champions in the early game. And the skip and slash now, you can't really use this as freely as you did before. Most of the time with skip and slash, you can just use this ability. You don't need to auto attack too much to proc the cooldown refund, so you basically could just dash around and do whatever you want to. But now you get more benefit for the cooldown refund when you auto attack, when you're using your third ability, and your third ability has also been increased by quite a lot, especially in the early game, so you can't just use this as freely. With Gwen, what most people did during the early game is that they leveled their skip and slash, their third ability first, and this basically gave you a dash, and when you use your dash, you can basically auto attack for free, do a lot of auto attack damage with this base attack damage. But these nerfs are basically trying to get rid of that early game power that Gwen had, which is quite nice. Irelia, this is where the first change comes in. The base damage before, I think, was a little bit lower than this. I can't remember numbers exactly, but I think it was like 12 to 66, but now it's 14 to 70. So they're increasing the base damage by a lot. Like a lot on the first ability, which is, this is obviously when you get like full attack speed, you get like extra damage basically. But the monster mod has been cut down to 0%. So again, moving Irelia kind of out of the jungle completely with this passive nerf, and making her stronger during the laning phase, and making her stronger during you know, being a solo laner or a mid laner basically. But this buff is quite big, you know, 14 to 70 from 10 to 66 is a big buff. So we'll have to see how this changes things. But obviously Irelia did receive a buff. That's a buff and a nerf in one word. A nerf, sorry, in the previous patch, where her first ability now doesn't follow any flashes or dashes. So that's a pretty big thing. Kayn buffs. I'm actually really excited to try out Kayn in a new patch after these buffs. Base attack damage going up is going to be really nice. They have a little bit of a note here now with the passive gain amount to kind of explain it a bit more. This is a complex mechanic, but this is a strict buff to the rate at which Kayn passively fills his resource bars. This change increases the amount of resources that Kayn gets passively over time. So this is nothing to do with how much souls you get from attacking champions. You'll still get the same amount of souls from attacking champions and dealing damage to champions. This is more to do with passive over time. So I guess this just means every 2 minutes you get plus 25 instead of plus 15, maybe. I'm not really too sure. Again, it as it says, it's a complex mechanic. Overall, this basically means it's a buff, and it means you'll get your form earlier. That's basically how you can put it as. First ability, the bonus attack damage and the darken attack damage ratio has now been increased. It gets a little bit of a nerf in the early game, so this is at level 1. But again, you won't really feel this too much because you get to level this ability first. So you'll really be able to feel the 10% increase once you hit, around to level 6. You'll be able to really feel the 10% increase, especially when you're going darken. You're still going items like Black Cleaver, Death Stance, Guardian Angel, so you're still getting quite a lot of attack damage, so you're going to be feeling the attack damage ratio, which is quite nice. And I do like this buff quite a lot. Again, you're not going to feel the 5% early game damage because the clear speed is already really, really fast with Kayn. Again, I would have liked to seen more Shadow Step buffs, to be fair. I think these Shadow Step buffs are not enough. Cooldown going down to 8 seconds and the move speed going up to 75%. I don't think these buffs will be enough for Kayn, to be honest with you, with Shadow Step Kayn. I think Darken is going to be even stronger. The reason also why Darken is going to be even stronger is because of the ultimate as well. So Darken base damage, the target's maximum health is going up to 15%, and also the heal is now going up to 10% of the target's maximum health. So if you ulti a target that has a lot of maximum health, you're going to be dealing more damage to them, and you're also going to be healing a lot more. So again, very, very important to make sure you focus a champion with high HP when you're using a darkened form. Kha'Zix, they completely got rid of his base health nerf. So basically keeping the attack damage nerf and also the cooldown on Taste of Fear. But they completely, it seems like anyway, they completely moved the base health nerf. So not nerfing Kha'Zix as much as before, like we saw in the first look, but still the base attack damage nerf is going to be quite good. I think that Kha'Zix is a really strong spot and has a lot of fast jungle clear, one of the fastest jungle clear champions in the game right now. And then the cooldown of Taste of Fear also going up in the early game, making it even make it take even longer to early clear the jungle, which this should hopefully kind of bring down Kha'Zix a little bit. Again, will this be enough? Probably not. I still think Kha'Zix will be pretty strong. Olaf, I did check. This still 50% damage to monsters. This is basically a decrease. So instead of dealing 100% damage to monsters with the third ability, now it only deals 50%. So this is basically a nerf to the third ability for Olaf in the jungle. Obviously, the first ability, this is damage, I'm pretty sure. It doesn't even have what it is, but I'm pretty sure this is damage. The base damage went down, but you now get to inflict 20% armor reduction for 4 seconds on enemy champions. So again, trying to move a champion away from jungle and trying to move it towards barrel lane. Quite a few champions like that in this patch. Olaf, Irelia, and Graves are the 3 champions, whilst they're also trying to move, Shen and Darius into the jungle. So trying to switch things around, which I quite like. I like they try and do changes like this. Try and move champions in different lanes because it kind of makes people try them out. Then they try new ways of playing the game. They try new synergies. They try new maybe counters as well. So I think it's always a good thing to try and keep the game up to date as possible and try out new things. Rammus being nerfed, the ultimate is the big nerf. The slow on hit is going down, the maximum slow is going down, and also the base damage is going down. So overall, a big massive hit to ultimate. I'm curious what to say. The Armadillo has been strong for most players for a while, but recent jungle changes have favored him and pushed him over the line in terms of power. I'm gonna do something. Oh my god, some of these things. I'm gonna do what needed and take away some of his strength for his ultimate. I kind of agree with this because of how squishy and how easy it is to clear through the jungle. Rammus before found it at times kind of slow to clear the jungle, but because these changes that happened to the jungle with Smite being more damage, it means that Rammus can clear through the jungle very, very quickly. So they're just nerfing his ultimate, but again, his ultimate is mainly for during team fights, so his jungle clear will still be fine. I think Rammus as a champion will still be okay. I personally still don't like him, and I think in high-low he still doesn't work, but again, this is probably more for like the casual player base, especially like lower elo that Rammus could definitely run over low elo games because he is kind of a decent champion. Rengar's second ability, Battle Roar, the base damage has been increased. The damage taken as healing has also been increased. The empowered taken damage as healing has also been increased. I saw a few comments in the first look video talking about AP Rengar. I don't think AP Rengar is going to be a thing with this buff. I don't think the buff is big enough. I just think this will help Rengar a little bit with a little bit of durability and a little bit of survivability. But I don't think it will make AP Rengar a thing, unfortunately. Shen's first ability, this is actually not bugged. I did test this out and I did actually message Takeshi, I'm pretty sure is how you pronounce the writer's name. The weird thing is about Shen's new passive that does splash damage, there's no projectile to show that the splash damage is there, but there's like a little bit of a magic number, and that magic number is basically your splash damage. So that on top of the first ability now dealing 200% damage to monsters, I feel like Shen might be quite cool in the jungle. I'm not too sure. How would they say? Apparently Shen is performing well, but we're looking to give his jungle a little bit of a boost, so we're bumping up his primary damage method against monsters. We'll have to try River Shen. I think that's for sure. We definitely have to try River Shen. Soraka is being nerfed. The health per level is going down. So I think overall, Soraka is going to lose around about 140 health when we get to late game. Don't think it's going to affect too much. But this does affect Soraka quite a lot, because obviously when she uses her healing, she uses more of her health. So this means that she can't use her second ability as much. For Thresh, third ability being increased. A few people are saying that most of the time you do max Flay first. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think that maxing Flay first will still be completely fine. I just like maxing the first ability first, because I think that just gives you more playmaking opportunity. But I understand why people max Flay first, because of how much damage this, how much damage Flay does. And again, I think it might be even more important now because of the cooldown. Because cooldown before wasn't too bad. It's like 10.5 to like 9 seconds, like 1.5 second difference. But now it's a whole 3 second difference. You might actually see Flay being maxed as a first item. Varus buff again. I don't know why they're buffing Varus. Varus haven't been hitting the mark as of late. We're busting hail of arrows and the attack speed of Avengers to reward him even more when getting kills and assists. I mean, yeah, this champ's going to be broken. I mean, they just keep buffing him over and over again. Surely there won't be more buffs of Varus after this. I mean, again, I'm going to be giving him a try and seeing what he's like. But champion kills or assists, attack speed going up by 20%. Non-champions, so this is like minions or monsters, going up by 10%. You get a huge massive AD ratio now on Hail of Arrows, so this ability will do more damage. Kind of nuts, kind of crazy. And also Veigar buff as well. Attack damage, base damage in the early game has gone up, and the mana regeneration has also gone up. Veigar laning phase is a bit worse than what we'd like. We're making some small adjustments to his stats to help him out early, but won't affect his scaling. So yeah, just help him out in the early game a little bit. This will make him lost hit minions easier, and maybe look to auto attack trade with with some enemy champions. Most of the time you don't really do that. And base mana regeneration just helps him out in the early game a little bit more. And then Warwick's ultimate is just the width being increased. We're happy how Warwick's performance has improved as players have learned the champions ins and outs, but we think his ultimate could be a little bit difficult to land at times, so making it wider. I realized that this bug as well was to do with meteor enchant. People were saying, I didn't really know that was the thing. I never really saw it myself. But apparently it's a bug where when you used your ultimate before, you could use meteor and you actually healed the amount of damage that meteor does. Pretty interesting, but that cannot be done now after this patch. One for all changes. If you want to look through them, you can pause at any time and have a look through them if you want to. Again, I'm not really too fussed about one for all changes. Again, if you want to, you can pause them. These are the new changes that I want to talk about. This wasn't in the first look, but these are new changes that will be happening in this patch. We've seen a lot of data about mage versus mage matchups leading into exceptionally long game times. We're making a few adjustments to how minions and Nexus scales into the later stages of the game to remove the outliners of 30-minute long Brand versus Lux games. I don't think Brand is the right champion to use. I think Ziggs versus Lux games is probably the best example. This is one of the reasons why competitive you're seeing so many AP mages down in the duo lane, because you clear minions so quickly. You basically get a 1 item power spike with Luden's Echo, which is a lot better than most AD carries. Not only that, but AD bruisers are still very, very strong, and tanks in general are just very, very strong. So again, there's a few reasons, but this is obviously one of the reasons why AP mages and why wave clear mages are so strong in the current meta. Lux and Ziggs being the top 2 in my opinion. So let's see what they're doing. So minions, movement speed growth. So the old one, you had 330 movement speed at 7 minutes, and then that goes up to 420 at 15 minutes. Now we still have the same, which is 310 at 7 minutes, but now we have more movement speed at a later stage of the game. So this is basically just increasing the movement speed ever so slightly. This could mean that this could help split pushing quite a lot, because the minions will be able to get to your lane quicker. This will also help if you kind of slow push a lane as well, because again, minions will be getting to your lane quicker. Again, 30 extra movement speed seems like a lot. obviously at 16 minutes, and this scaling means that I think over time, this basically means that every single minute the minions will be increasing in movement speed over and over again. Again, I don't think the numbers mean too much for the movement speed. I don't think this will make too much of a difference, but it's a nice little change to get more movement speed. This is a very, very interesting change. New. After 15 minutes, the Nexus will no longer gain health regeneration when out of combat. So what you do sometimes is that when you try and end the game, and if you try and end the game and it's on like 10 HP, has happened to me before, the Nexus actually regenerates health over time. This will not happen after the new patch. This will help a lot if you're looking for, you know, that backdoor. If you're looking to try and maybe put a ward in the base, or trying to get minions pushing into the base, or maybe try and get a champion there, you can all buy teleport and you can all try and kill off the Nexus because it won't have the health regeneration before. So if you don't kill it the first time, maybe you can go back and kill it the second time. So very, very interesting change. Obviously, this is after 15 minutes, so this is pretty much late game. So it won't help any time during the early game, but very interesting change. I think this will be really, really cool for competitive as well. Might see a few cool things with competitive. Siege minions and super minions are also getting a little bit of a buff. So the health growth per 25 seconds is going up from 20 to 25. So that means that the siege minions in general are going to be more tanky. The same with the super minions as well. The super minions are also going to be tankier. Health growth per 25 seconds has also been increased by 10. So it just means more and more health over time. But a really, really interesting thing is this new part of the siege minions. So siege minions will now gain 5 magic resist every 30 seconds starting at 12 minutes. This maxes out at 50 MR at 17 minutes. So this is where the whole brand versus Lux games, 30 long minute games come in. In the late game, it's very, very easy for AP mages to clear siege minions, to clear super minions, to clear minions in general. They have so much wave clear, like Lux, like Ziggs, like Brand, like Morgana. All these AP mages have so many ways to wave clear. So now what they're doing to kind of counteract this, especially in the later stages of the game, is at 12 minutes they're making it so minions will now gain mag resist. This will mean that it will be harder now for AP mages to kind of clear through minions, and this will make it even harder when a team gets Baron as well. This means that Baron buff is going to be even stronger because of your what's the word called, your minions, sorry, will be gaining even more stats from Baron buff, and also something like Hullbreaker, which means that your minions will gain even more stats from Hullbreaker. So this benefits split pushing quite a lot with Hullbreaker, because your minions will be more tanky now from any sort of magic damage that might be on the enemy team trying to wave clear. This will be really good against Baron now. Like AP mages against Baron will be very, very hard to clear, and just in general. You'll still have the early game clear before 12 minutes of AP mages, especially when you hit one item, Luden's Echo. I think the wave clear will still be completely fine. But 12 minutes into the game, it's going to take a little bit longer. So yeah, very, very interesting changes to minions. I will have to see how this affects things. Will it affect the meta in competitive? Probably not, because I think AP Mage is still very strong, like Lux, for example, especially because of her shielding and how broken she is as a champion. And then the last change is obviously Navori Quickblades, the cost going from 2,800 to 3,000 gold. I thought of a few more champions as well. Obviously Graves, as I mentioned already, with Navori Quickblades. People mentioning Rengar as well, because Crit Rengar is quite a big threat at the moment. That is obviously going to be going down. Obviously, Lucian as well. If you want to build a Navori Quickblades on any other ADCs like Tristan and Xayah, that is going to be a lot harder. So yeah, that is the big thing about Navori Quickblades. But that is everything. Again, a few changes to what we saw in the first look. I'm quite looking forward to the new skins as well. The Chroma Crash, hopefully there is no gacha. But we'll have to see when Chroma Crash does come out. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to stay tuned for my stream tomorrow on Thursday, where I'll be going through all these changes and trying out some new champions, especially Kayn, Darius jungle, Shen jungle, and a lot more. So hopefully stay tuned for that. Stay safe. I'll see you all in the next Wilder video. Peace.